The program's gone very well. You'll have seen from results we've had over the past few months that we've extended the mineralization quite significantly at depth. We've intersected multiple lodes, and now all of this drilling is going into the resource update. So in terms of moving forward with the resource update for Mulwarrie, the first cut of wireframes are with the resource geologists, and we'll be updating those as we get more results as they come in over the coming weeks. The one that really stands out is the Lakeview down dip. We've had some wonderful high-grade thick intercepts down to a level of about 200 meters, and we stopped drilling there waiting on new permits. Those permits have come in now, and so we can get back in and drill those down dip positions on both King Kong and Jambo. So that's going ahead. I'd say that's very exciting. But also just our first round of drilling into the Silverback trend. Follow-up drilling at Sovereign North. We just extended Sovereign North by another 100 meters to the north with the release we put out this week, and Cheer as well. So yes, just lots of really exciting targets to get stuck into at Comet Vale project. Lakeview is really the area. Lakeview is composed of maybe 10 separate mineralized structures. These are major faults that have gold mineralization on, that we have evidence of gold mineralization on. So at Lakeview, we have the King Kong trend, which is the biggest volume of mineralization we've discovered to date. And then a parallel trend to that is the Jambo trend that we have also intercepted material gold results on. And the Silverback trend is about, let's say, a kilometer south of King Kong. It's a major structure. It's got loads of historic gold mines on this trend, and it's about 3 kilometers long. Very strong geochemical anomaly, very strong gold soil anomaly on this trend, on this prospect, and more than 20 historic gold workings along that trend as well. So it's a pretty significant target, and really very little drilling. The only drilling actually done on that trend is at the Cheer prospect, which we did earlier this year, and we're following up on that drilling because we had some pretty good intercepts from Cheer, and we only would have drilled it to 150 meters below surface. So yeah, that all forms part of the Silverback trend. And as with the new POWs recently received for Lakeview, we've just got POWs to get in there and drill on this Silverback trend as well. So for Lakeview, we have started already with the metallurgical studies. So the first round of test work is already with the labs. So waiting on those results pretty soon. And pending after that first round of test work, the next thing you do is then make sure you get lots of MET samples from pretty much everywhere within the ore body. So we'll be doing that on an ongoing basis. So I'll expect the results from the first round of MET tests at Lakeview in the next month, and then we'll design a bigger program based on that. In terms of the other studies at Lakeview, so there's lots of components to this. We've started all of the early permitting for Lakeview, of course. Remembering that Lakeview is on a granted mining lease already, but we still need to go through the permitting for various other permits that are required before you can mine a project. Fundamentally, on an ongoing basis, once we've got the initial resource at Lakeview in Q4 this year, we'll be able to do our first major engineering studies, but we already have a reasonable idea of where the mineralization is, obviously. So we're already undertaking geotechnical studies, hydrological studies, et cetera, at Lakeview. So what I would say, as a, it's obviously a very, very complex process. And we've started it already, and we expect results to be coming on an ongoing basis. And likewise with Mulwarrie. So Mulwarrie, we've also started MET test work. We're just collating the samples for our first round of MET test work at Mulwarrie, and of course we already have historical MET test work for Mulwarrie. So historically had recoveries of 91 to 95% gold from a standard CIP process, which is very encouraging, of course. And as with Lakeview, given we already know the kind of the baseline expectations for Mulwarrie, we're just going in and designing a bigger program straight away. And then likewise, we'll have, as soon as that our first resource update from Mulwarrie comes out, which will be Q3, we'll then give that to the engineers straight away to start engineering designs for Mulwarrie. The real key ones, Q3, we've got the Mulwarrie resource update. We'll have drilling results from exploration and growth drilling coming on an ongoing basis. So we've still got 20 or so holes from Mulwarrie that are still with the labs, and they'll be coming out on an ongoing basis, and then they'll be going into the resource estimate for Mulwarrie. So resource estimate Q3 and results from Mulwarrie on a weekly or fortnightly basis. Likewise with Comet Vale, so results from exploration and growth drilling at Comet Vale on a fortnightly basis, and targeting that resource in Q3. And then we'll have we talked about metallurgy, we'll have the metallurgical test work will become available in the next month or so for Lakeview, and probably not much further behind for Mulwarrie as well. So lots of news from there. And then Q4 for the resource update for Lakeview.